Coming up, Zoom has stayed on the most talked about topics here at Ole Miss, beginning from day one when the software crashed minutes into the new semester. But has the university improved it? We have the updates.
And cancel those March beach trips because spring break is canceled. The latest on the updated spring schedule and more next.
Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to Newswatch Ole Miss. I'm LEAH BLEVENS.
And I'm Grayson Wolf.
Students are experiencing many challenges this semester with classes.
Yes, and one that is becoming more common is trying to find a place to attend Zoom classes on campus that are accommodating for weather and that are convenient.
Betsy Ellert is like many Ole Miss students this semester. She spends one day on campus for class, and even then she faces difficulties presented by COVID-19 and its restrictions.
I chose the Grove because it's been really nice out normally and it's close to my class, but I choose my car most of the time because there's nowhere for me to sit, and recently it's been getting a little chillier.
After her in-person class, Ellert quickly tries to find a table in the Grove to attend her Zoom class 10 minutes after being released. With weather changing, the Grove is beginning to be a difficult place to attend instruction.
I have my car that I have been doing class in occasionally, but it's also just not very practical. So I drive home and I can listen to class, but it's obviously not very practical or very safe. I'm not taking in any of the information.
She is not alone in the struggle to find a quiet bench to attend her class. With no tables or seating inside of campus buildings, there are limited options for students, and many are beginning to opt to attend class from their cars.
I think that some of the academic buildings could do some of this to help students when it's starting to get chillier do Zoom classes on campus. If they just had some tables.
We are still waiting on comments from the Ole Miss faculty on solutions for students. This is Caroline Chrysler, Newswatch Ole Miss.
Before we get into the new spring schedule, let's talk about the number of COVID-19 cases in the area. Ole Miss currently has 34 active confirmed COVID-19 cases, including both students and staff, almost 10 less than last week, while experiencing almost 600 confirmed cases inside the town of Oxford since school resumed, according to the university dashboard yesterday. With the number of active cases still steadily decreasing, Wednesday, Lafayette County reported 102 active cases, a little less compared to last week. The state reported almost 600 new cases on Wednesday, about 100 less than last week.
And if you've got plans for spring break, you probably want to reschedule. Monday, Chancellor Boyce announced several changes to the spring semester schedule, perhaps the most notable of which was a cancellation of spring break, shortening the semester as a whole. In addition to this, in-person graduation ceremony dates were announced. The class of 2021 will walk the stage May 1st. But don't think the class of 2020 was forgotten. There will be an additional ceremony for those graduates, planned for May 8th. The plans regarding individual ceremonies are still in the works. And one Ole Miss professor is leading the way for a potentially groundbreaking COVID-19 treatment. Dr. Joshua Sharp, a UM professor of pharmacology, is in the process of developing a nose spray as a means of treatment. The spray contains heparin, a drug used to treat blood clotting. It works by attaching itself to the virus and preventing it from sticking to cells. The best part? Dr. Sharp says there are no known side effects of the drug to worry about. If trials go as planned, this could be a complete game changer for the prevention of COVID-19.
One man is behind bars after attempting to assault one Oxford citizen. Roger Dale Matthews was released from a scene trying to assault another individual, but now faces charges of cyberstalking after threatening the victim on social media multiple times. Matthews is now facing charges of cyberstalking and is held at a $10,000 bond. And another Oxford man arrested last week on a charge for molestation of a 14-year-old. Robert Raines was taken in by the Lafayette County Sheriff's Department and has been issued a bond of $10,000.
In a semester where the stages are shut down, where does that leave our students at the theater department? More with Newswatch reporter Carter Diggs.
The ongoing COVID-19 crisis has led to the halting or relocation of several university programs. But the Ole Miss Theater Department has chosen to adapt and survive past the quarantine guidelines.
So this was really an opportunity to look at new ways to create theatrical experiences using technologies that really have been available anyway, and give the students an opportunity to learn new things and try new things. So what we ended up coming up with is one production that will be done via Zoom and one production that will be a series of radio dramas.
Listening in the Shadows will be a set of horror-themed radio shows written by students. The production is inspired by the eponymous narrator of 1930s radio dramas.
For the other production, which is called Near Far, that turned into an opportunity since we've all been having a lot of Zoom meetings. Everybody has kind of gotten accustomed to being in the Zoom space and always seeing each other in this weird kind of Brady Bunch grid. So what about creating a drama that explores that experience?
Students can look forward to these tales of masks and murderous men later this semester. Keep an eye out on the theater department's Facebook and other social media for more. Carter Diggs, Newswatch, Ole Miss.
Thanks for that, Carter. Excellent reporting as always. And all of you can look forward to experiencing the new productions on October 30th and November 6th, right from the comfort of your home. And the UM Museum is looking to pumpkin spice things up this Halloween. The museum is hosting its first ever pumpkin carving contest. The Stark Raving Pumpkin Carving Contest has a few simple rules. Find a gorgeous pumpkin, carve it into a work of art, and deliver it to the Walton Young House. All pumpkins entered will be on display on the front lawn of the house all Halloween weekend, with the winner being announced on Halloween. Registration for the contest closes on October 23rd. And the transition to online learning has been challenging for many, but it's been especially difficult for those without adequate internet access. The Oxford Housing Authority solved that problem for many in the Oxford community by providing free Wi-Fi for its residents. The program is in place as of the end of September. Jonathan Hill, the executive director of OHA, announced the move as a part of an effort to promote digital inclusion, ensuring all residents of the Oxford community have access to internet. The plan was put into action in partnership with Max South Broadband and Big Brother Technologies.
Cooper Manning spoke with student journalists of his alma mater about his time at the university and his TV show. Here's the recap of the event.
The Manning name is legendary on the Ole Miss campus. Cooper, the eldest son of football legend Archie, Zoomed with students following in his broadcast footsteps at the University of Mississippi. Unlike his brothers, Manning took a different route to success, making people laugh on a show called The Manning Hour. However, he still is calling the plays.
I let the guest kind of dictate the nonsense and the humor, and I ask a lot of stupid questions, hoping to get something different than what the viewers anticipating.
The football comedy show is booming on Fox NFL Kickoff. However, broadcast was not Cooper Manning's original plan.
I started out as a business major, and it wasn't that exciting to me. Accounting specifically was kind of a uphill battle, and then I had a friend who said, you ought to be in journalism school, and I never even thought about it. Just it looked to him like it came easy to me, so I was like, yeah, I can do this all day.
Student Emma Harrington was on the Zoom call with Manning. She had one big takeaway from this meeting.
It was a really good look at what we can do with the education that we're getting right now in terms of our future and his success.
One student asked, with all of your knowledge now, what advice would you give to yourself when you were a student here at Ole Miss? Manning replied,
Stay in school, never graduate.
Well, there is a famous saying that one never truly graduates from Ole Miss. Dana Drake, Newswatch, Ole Miss.
For more information on Manning's show, visit Fox News for his NFL kickoff showtime. Well, Grayson, it looks like the storms are going to rain on our parade this weekend, so I hope you didn't have any plans other than watching movies at home.
Oh, well, that's every weekend for me. I guess that fall pumpkin patching I was wanting to do, though, is going to have to wait until next week. Weather is up next to prepare you for when to pull out that rain jacket after the break.
think getting dumped by text is harsh, try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I brought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Each year, hurricanes and major flooding threaten cities, towns, and rural homes across the Gulf states. So chances are there will be more storms and floods near here again. And between school, sports, and social lives, chances are you won't be with your kids when it happens. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids has all the educational tools and information to make the conversation easy. When the time comes, chances are they'll feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
Hello, Oxford. Welcome back to Stormwatch. I'm Alexandra Watts, and here's your current headlines for the weekend. As we take a look into tonight, a high around 66, showers throughout the evening. Looking into tomorrow, a high of 72, thunderstorms all throughout the day. And then looking into our weather headlines for the weekend, the temperatures are slowly dropping, which is going to be amazing, but expecting thunderstorms all throughout the weekend. And then the rain is slowly going to stop on Sunday.
After the win against Kentucky last weekend, Ole Miss is trying to win their third game against Alabama in 6 years. The bad news for Ole Miss is that Crimson Tide head coach Nick Saban has never lost to a former assistant coach. Coming up next in sports, I'll fill you in on the matchup and all of the latest, so stick with us.
You told me not to talk to strangers. You told me not to cross the street without looking both ways.
You told me not to touch the stove.
You told me not to do drugs.
You told me not to drink and drive.
You gave me so many messages about how to stay safe. Why didn't you keep me safe by properly storing your gun?
The Rebs are facing the Tide this weekend, and when asked on why Alabama is so difficult to play, Elijah Moore responded with this.
I won't really say nothing difficult. They're just like any other team. You know, they put their pads on just like we do, so I can't really answer that question. We just got to be ready. You know, they got good coaches, they got good schemes, but we got good coaches and we got good schemes, so we just going to have to see.
The Rebs plan to use this mentality and the momentum from last week to their advantage when they step into the Vaught this Saturday. And speaking of this Saturday, sports reporter AJ Norwood has the rundown on the Rebs and the Tide for the big game.
After a much-needed win last weekend against the Kentucky Wildcats, head coach Lane Kiffin and the Ole Miss Rebels football team are looking to carry that momentum into this weekend as they take on the #2 Alabama Crimson Tide. Last weekend, the Rebel offense was absolutely explosive, posting almost 500 yards of total offense. Quarterback Matt Corral went 24 for 29 passing with 320 passing yards and 4 touchdowns. But defensively is where the Rebels struggled as they gave up 578 yards of total offense, 427 of those yards coming from Kentucky's rushing attack. Head coach Nick Saban and the Tide are 2-0 after their win against Texas A&M on Saturday. The Tide posted over 400 yards passing through quarterback Mac Jones and over 100 yards rushing through the duo of Najee Harris and Brian Robinson Jr. Despite Saban's defense giving up over 300 yards through the air, Alabama managed to hold the Aggies to only 24 points. The biggest challenge for the Rebels this weekend will be containing the electric receivers as well as a deep backfield for Alabama.
Kickoff is at 6:30 p.m. in the Vaught, and it is predicted to rain a lot. So make sure to wear your rain gear and cheer on the Rebs. Moving on to the golf course, the Ole Miss women's golf team finished 4th in their first tournament of the season this Wednesday. The team shot a .291 in the final round of the Blessings Collegiate in Fayetteville. The Lady Rebs improved their team score each round, finishing a 24-over as a team. Julia Johnson, Andrea Lignell, and Kennedy Swan all tied for 11th individually after all shooting just 6 over. Ole Miss will return to the course on October 19th in West Point, Mississippi, where they'll compete in the Alley. Ole Miss senior and two-time All-American Waleed Solomon has been named SEC Men's Runner of the Week. Solomon led the Rebel men to a dominant 41-point team victory over Charlotte in Louisville last Saturday. This is where Solomon himself finished second overall, running the SEC's top 8K time this season. You can catch Solomon and the rest of the Ole Miss cross-country team running in Birmingham for UAB's Blazer Classic on Friday, October 16th. Well, that's all I've got for sports, but be sure to follow us on Twitter for more of your favorite sports updates. Now, back to you.
So, Grayson, I have a question.
Lay it on me.
How do you mend a broken jack-o'-lantern?
Oh. I don't know. How do you?
With a pumpkin patch.
Obviously, completely unintentional. Up next, we have the perfect way to get into the fall spirit. Well, after all this rain moves out, of course. Stay with us.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
I am what hunger looks like in America. I was created by artificial intelligence from faces of the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger.
If you're looking for some fall fun, this story is for you. The St. Peter's Episcopal Church on the Square opened up their pumpkin patch this week.
The church has been hosting this annually as a fundraiser, and COVID-19 wasn't going to stop that. The price of each pumpkin depends on its size, an average-sized one costing around $9.
The pumpkins are bought from a Navajo tribe, which the church is proud to support each year.
This patch offers a cheap and easy way to also support the community and creates the perfect Instagram-worthy picture. Just make sure not to leave without purchasing a pumpkin.
That's all we have for today. Thank you for tuning in to Newswatch Ole Miss. I'm LEAH BLEVENS.
You can always catch our show on Facebook livestream and hottitoddy.com and the local campus channel. Make sure to also follow us on social media. I'm Grayson Wolf. Thank you and have a wonderful weekend.